I love in the hair, by the way. Like,
Thank
I
you.
think I never, let me put the volume up. I think I never see you with our hair.
It's brand new. I got it this week.
I love it. Where do you get it from?
It's a wig thing. On Instagram, they style give face cosmetic wigs.
Uh-huh.
And this one's actually a hard front, which I don't usually go for because I like the more like natural blend. But like you literally can't tell. So
No,
I'm
it looks
happy.
fabulous in you. And I love how it's styled. It really suits you.
And then I usually do really thick eyeliner because I really like the effect of it. But today I did like this little just like angle, and
Mhm.
then I just cut my crease and then filled it in with a different color. Usually I leave it white because I like how striking it is, but today I made it like an orangey color, and then I put some like shimmer over it. So it's kind of, this is kind of disco, and then this is kind of like 80s punk. So I like it.
I mean, darling, you look stunning, and I love every moment of it. I love the ensemble. I love the hair moment. I love the makeup. I mean, it's like, oh, you always look fabulous. Come on, let's spill some tea. You know what I mean? But today is super extra, so thank you so much. Okay, as we do have everything at hand that we need, and this is recording, I'm gonna introduce you, and then we just crack on. How about that? All right. So, hello, darlings, and welcome to another episode of Mariah with Friends in Conversation with, and it's a running a marathon saying all that name, but I have an enlightened moment and I had to stick with it, and like it is what it is, darling. So today I have a very special darling of mine. She's not only a great performer, a photographer, and producer, but among any other qualities, she is a super darling. So please, let's give a warmest virtual round of applause for our the multi-talented and gorgeous darling, SemiColon. Hello, darling. How are
Hello,
you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am great, and you look stunning. I love this new this new look in you. As I told you before, I think it's kind of like the first time I see you with a darker hair, and it super suits you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I like bringing out my paleness because when I was younger, I was quite like teased for how pale I was. So why not just embrace it, you know?
Exactly. I mean, like most of the times when we are growing up and trying to find our identity, we always kind of reject um, our natural aspects. If it's like curly hair, you straighten it up. If you, I don't know, if you are pale, you want to look like tan. If you are like, or the opposite, or if you are like have body hair like a lot like I have, you shave it, or like you get rid of it. So it is so good to embrace our natural qualities, and just nurture them, and just be proud of them, right?
Definitely. I mean, I think we're kind of conditioned to correct what other people see as flaws, but I think it's really important, especially as adults, to then like say, actually, no, they're not flaws, they're what make us unique. And
Mhm.
being unique is really important because it shows other people that it's okay to be different, and it's but even if you're not that different, but it's okay just to exist and be you in whatever shape or form that might be.
Absolutely, and that's it's a great way to
No way, I'm recording.
this is live. This is like there is no rehearsals. This is one moment. So like, hey, um, I was just saying that it is great to embrace your natural qualities, whatever you've been gifted to have, and that's a great way to explore yourself and accept yourself, and by doing that, it gives different opportunities on how you project yourself to others, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think drag is a really good way to do that. Especially for me, because I was just like, I didn't like, I really liked drag. I like watching it and I appreciated it, but I didn't know if I had a place in that community, you know.
Mhm.
And it took a couple of my friends saying, actually, no, it is okay for you to take up space and it is okay for you to try it and see if you like it, you know, because I like with anything, like with a sport or with a hobby, like you don't have to like it. You can try it and then be like, no, that's not for me, and then, you know, drop it. Just
Mhm.
because you do it once doesn't mean that you have to commit to it straight away, you know.
Yeah.
So but I'm that kind of person that if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna commit to it. So I'm very much like, if I'm gonna take up like a hobby, like, I don't know, sewing, I'm gonna go out and buy all the tools that I need even before I've even started. Like I'm gonna research all of the machines, make sure that I get like one that's in my budget but is also good. I'm gonna research all the tools I need. I'm gonna spend hours browsing fabrics when I don't know what the hell these fabrics do. Like I will literally dive into the deep end and then a couple months later be like, kind of bored now. And then do the next one. But luckily for drag, like that hasn't happened for me, because I think there's so many different areas of drag, and drag is just an embodiment of so many different art forms, because it has like the performance aspect, it has the like hosting and on mic aspect where you have to kind of be able to move on the go and react when you need to, which I always thought would be the hardest bit for me, because I'm good at like reacting and bouncing off people, but I'm not very good at controlling what I say.
Yeah.
Because I speak what comes to mind. I never have that kind of filter, which is good in comedy, I guess, because like when you're on stage, I guess you can get away with a bit more. But when I'm just around friends and they're being vulnerable and I say something that's probably not appropriate, then it can go like two ways.
Mhm.
But yeah, I really like drag because it has the hosting aspect, it has the performing bit, but then now we're digitally like having to do drag. You then have to like do film production. Obviously most people do photography for their Instagrams, and
Mhm.
some form of like minor editing, but also now we're having to try and learn how to video edit, and I did a little bit for it for one of my A levels that wasn't media, but it required a media aspect, but
Uh-huh.
I had proper technology then. Like obviously the school provided the technology, so it was quite easy to use, but now I'm here and I don't have the means to that technology. When I was doing my first digital drag performance, I had to use like this really cheap app that was literally free, but it didn't have the layers that you do in like a more advanced technology, where
Yeah.
you can just like piece it together and it looks, and you can see it all as like one timeline. This, it was just like, if you had to piece it together, you have to put them side by side and you can't, it's not as accurate. So it
Okay.
took so many edits to try and make it look half good, because otherwise it looks really jumpy and you can't match up like the lip sync to the song, or the transition didn't look right. And I was like, I can't believe some people during like this last year have
Yeah.
done so many of these digital performances. It took so much out of me to do one. Um, and
But
now I've
now, yeah, so
got a show coming up um, at the end of this month, that I have to submit a new digital drag performance for. So I'm looking forward to putting out new content, but not looking forward to having to try and edit again.
I wanted to tap in that you say that you have something coming up now. I want to know what you've been working and what you can tell us, you know, if you're working any projects or what you've been up to in the last few months.
Well, as I said, I've tried not to do too many digital shows because it requires quite a lot of like work that I'm not very familiar in, the digital editing, and honestly it requires so much energy that I didn't really have that to give. But recently I've had more free time, so that's when I've started taking on more commitments. So I'm looking, so when we're talking non-virtual now, I am looking to rebook some of the shows that did get cancelled for June-ish.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of hesitant to do it because I really don't want to get my hopes up and then it all comes crashing down again. But at the same time, I feel like you need to have them booked in, so that when everyone feels the relief and everyone's wanting to go out, you're in there, you know. So it's kind of a bit of a toss up, and also because so much goes into producing a show, you know, that quite a few people don't kind of realize there's differences also between producing online shows and producing real life shows. Both are very, you know, intense, but both have like positives and negatives, but they do require slightly different skill sets.
Yeah.
Like I produced one online show, but it wasn't any of the live viewing, not like a Twitch show or anything. It was very much it was just all uploaded to YouTube on a private link, and people would pay for access to that link. Whereas some people do, obviously, where they do it on a live platform or platform that anyone can access, and then do the tip, like encourage people for tips because they can't charge for entry because anyone can enter. So it's kind of navigating that, and it's also when you're thinking about doing digital shows, you have to also bear in mind what kind of platform that show's on, and what you're kind of willing to have as like a minimum payment, because most of these digital shows, they can't guarantee you a minimum payment. But a lot of us just take it because obviously we haven't had much solid work, so a lot of us will be like, well, I'm okay with accepting that I might not get much from it or anything at all, but I'd rather put my face out there and I'd rather show my work than not show it. Whereas some people are like, I can't afford to just give away my content for free. I'm going to hold back until someone can approach me with a reasonable offer. So I think everyone is just trying to figure out what best suits them in this kind of pandemic that we're in. And you have to kind of respect everyone's hustle. Some people are, you know, actively posting every other day on social media and they're driving up followers, which is great because when you get back into the real world, I mean, it's annoying, but followers do help you secure gigs, which is
absolutely
very annoying. But it's just how the world is working these days, you know. The amount of traction you have can determine what kind of gigs you get booked for, which is good for those who have quite a lot of followers, but is kind of like an upward battle for people that don't have that visibility yet. But yeah, I always think that when I'm booking people, I want to have kind of a mix. So I always want to have a mix of like different types of talent and different types of drag style, but also different range of social media following as well. So for like my hosts, if I have like people on the door, or if I have people that are more helping with like the promotional and face first side, then those are the people that I want to have a more strong following online. Whereas performers, I always gauge it based on talent, you know. nearly all performers are talented, but I want a certain like style, or I want a certain talent for that particular show. So I nearly always based my booking for performance-based artists based on like a show reel, or based on work that I've previously watched at different shows. Or if I haven't seen their work before, I'll ask, you know, can you send me links to anything that gives me like a hint of what you might like be able to do, or write me up just a brief summary on what you plan on doing. So I can kind of get a picture in my head of what you're going to perform to and what that might look like. So I think that's where I have a bit of a problem with some bigger like producing companies in the UK, where they seem to base a lot of their bookings on how many social media followings people have, rather than actually seeing their work beforehand, which I think is kind of a problem. Like I don't think it's a problem if you're booking them to host, or you're booking them to, you know, be a face at the event. Then like if you're booking them for a look, then fine, that's good, that's what I would do too. But if you're booking someone to perform on stage without actually seeing how they perform, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I'm not going to name names, but there is this company.
Oh well, darling, if you need to drop names, please do it. This is my show, so there is no censorship planning here.
There is this company, and they asked for people to tag people that they wanted to see coming to this event, and it kind of had it kind of made people feel like, oh, if they get tagged enough, then they might have a chance, because obviously you'll think that if they're asking people to tag, you know, their favorites, then you're going to pay attention to who comes up quite frequently. But then they kind of like drew it out, and then they said, oh, to be eligible to win a slot at this like big event, to perform there, you need to submit a photo of yourself, and then we're going to post the photo online of everyone that submitted, basically, or their choices out of those that submitted, and those with the person that had the most likes gets the slot. And I was like, but then it's not based on performance, it's based on who's the best looking and who has the biggest following that can then get everyone to share and come on the page. So to me, that was very transparent, that they're not actually looking for the best performance artist or the best person to fill in the slot that they might not have filled in their show. It's very much like, I just want someone that's going to bring a lot of traction to my page, bring me new followers.
Absolutely.
And then because they've done all of this free promotion for the page, they then win this slot. And maybe we give them the slot at the end of the show, or in a quieter part of the day, because then if they mess it up, it doesn't really matter, you know?
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, like
I just like, as I said to my friend, I'm not going to not do it, because I always think that even if I disagree with how they go about it, I still need to put myself forward, because then I have no chance. It's like with the lottery, like if you don't enter, then there's no chance of you winning, whereas like you can't really complain. You can, but you can't, you know. You can complain about the system, but if you're not participating, you can't claim the prize.
Exactly. I mean, I think, like, you know, like the market is so oversaturated, and it's so much of everything, that when you find yourself with those opportunities of like, oh, you can win or you can participate or whatever, it's just like the people which who are chosen, it doesn't really matter what you do or whatever. It's just like what it's beneficial for the page or for the business and so on, right? But I mean, like that, it shouldn't, you know, that kind of behavior that we are having more and more these days, unfortunately, in my opinion, it shouldn't put a word or to give you an idea that your art is of certain caliber, you know. I think that, you know, you become an artist because you love what you do and you love sharing that experience with others. And then, you know, if you know, or a financial reward is kind of like supposed to be the utmost, because that's how you know, you gratify yourself, but you know, it's not everything. You mentioned visibility quite a few times, and that is the name of your show that you
Yeah.
produced in London a few times. um I know that, you know, due to uncertainty and everything, it has to be postponed quite a few times. But I also want to know, you as you are a multidisciplinary disciplinary artist, and as your producer, your performer, you create content, you move in so many different medias. Where do you see SemiColon in, you know, in the next 6 months, a year? Where do you want to take your practice?
Well, ideally, I would love to have a secure residency. I mean, I've had kind of semi-secure residencies where I ask for it and I get it, which is really fortunate, but it hasn't been anything that's written in like a contract or anything that I can depend on. And I would love to have that happen for me and for my show. I'd also love to do some more different ventures. So I've done, as I said, I've done a bit of hosting, I've done a bit of like go-go dancing, like that kind of stuff. But one of my, it was actually my 2020 goal, but obviously that didn't happen because closed down. But I really wanted to model at like the Queer Fashion Week show for some of the plus size brands, and I kind of want to be in front of the camera a bit more, but not necessarily performing. So that was one of my goals. I also want to, I've recently been getting into like makeup artist work, and I'd love to also venture into that and maybe see if I can get some more gigs doing different types of makeup on people. Obviously it doesn't have to be drag, but I'd love to do drag on people and get paid to do it.
I
mean
mean, I think
that was,
like now we are just like, you know, at the probably one of the highest points, you know, like regarding drag. So like, yes, go for that gig, honey. Absolutely, you know. And
I
you
mean,
are
basically if it's something fun and it's something that excites me and you're willing to pay me for it, then I'm probably down for it, you know.
yeah.
Even if it's like scrubbing floors and drag, if you're paying me to do it and you know it covers my costs, then sure. You know, I
Absolutely.
like, even if you want me to be like a backup dancer in like a massive crowd, like go for it, you know.
Absolutely.
I don't think in this time we can particularly be that picky.
Mhm.
So I think the best thing for me is just to keep most opportunities open, and I think that's also a good thing why I kind of freed up a lot of my time, because I recently left my like part-time job of 8 years.
Oh,
So that
wow.
was like a massive, that was my like fallback, I guess. That was my like consistent, like I get some kind of income from, but it just was becoming harder and harder to maintain. And as much as I loved that job, it was just causing me a lot of stress, and they kept pushing me to do more and more that they weren't paying me to do.
Yeah.
So I was just like, no, this is my boundary, and then they didn't respect the boundary. So I was just like, sorry, gotta go, you know.
I mean, like sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, and despite the decision at this moment in time, might sound hard, then you will understand, or you were determined, or you know, expecting something more suitable for you, right?
Yeah,
Um,
so I thought it was like, it wasn't a rash decision. It's definitely been like something that I've been thinking about doing for the last year and a half. So it wasn't exactly like, oh, something went wrong and now I'm gonna like throw all my cards on the table, you know. But I think it's good because, as I said, it leaves me more open to say yes to opportunities that might come up, and more time to be creative, because a lot of the time I have lots of ideas of things that I would love to do, and I just haven't had the time to do all the things necessary to get it started. And another thing I've been wanting to do, you know, my experience drag page, obviously it hasn't had a lot of content recently because a lot of that is like photography at events, and obviously events haven't really been going on to allow for a photographer. But I've been thinking about maybe starting up like a blog, and a couple of years ago I wanted to do like these kind of things like interviews onto my experience drag like YouTube channel. I'm also severely behind on uploading to that channel. I gave up like 2 years ago when I was like 300 videos behind.
Ooh,
I don't know how many
girl.
videos I'm behind now, but yeah, I used to consistently take videos of performances and upload them like the same day or the next day. And I used to go to like 5 shows a week.
Yes,
Just a bit of
you were
perspective.
working so hard. I remember you wouldn't miss any show in
And then
London.
you upload each performance separately. So if it's like a 2-hour show, that's probably like 8 performances. So it was a lot of fun, but also a lot of work. And I never used to edit it either. I would just edit off maybe the beginning and the end, but I would just keep it as raw footage because it, you know, it is what you see.
Yeah.
But the whole point of my starting experience drag was so that people that couldn't access drag because maybe they were not 18 yet, or maybe they couldn't, like they lived somewhere that's not accessible, like they might live in the countryside where it takes a couple trains, a couple coaches to get to a venue, and then they can't really get back in time
Yeah.
to get to
Absolutely.
whatever they need to get to the next day. So I started it so that people could see what it's like to be at a show from a viewer's perspective, from an audience member's perspective, not the perspective of being like on the stage or being all high quality like cameras and high quality like different like angles and everything like that. It's just one angle most of the time, and just raw footage of, sometimes you see people's heads in the way, sometimes you see people getting up, and sometimes performers make mistakes, but you know, you show them what it's like,
Exactly.
so that they don't have any false like vision of what it might be like to go to that show or go to that bar. But it also gives performers that are still working on their platform, or even more famous performers, to be honest.
You said like nothing is decided until everything is decided. Darling, where we can find you, and also I'm gonna leave you the last minute of the show to wrap up, and you can tell us whatever you want to tell us. So where we can find your amazing work, darling?
So you can find me on all social media at SemiColon Drag. And I think all I have to promote is my upcoming digital show, which, let me just get it up on my thingy my bobby, because I didn't come prepared apparently.
And it's okay, darling. We keep it real because this is drag, darling. There is no walking, there is no second take. It is what it is, and that's how I like it.
Yeah, this is it. Let me just get it up. So it is, you can kind of see it there, but
Yes.
it's called Spring Fever. It will be on March 27th, and it's a Canadian show, so it'll be on at 8 p.m. CST, which is probably at like 4 a.m. our time, because we're usually about 5 hours ahead of Canadian time. But yeah, it's a great lineup, and you can find all the details at Femme Fatale and then WPG standing for Winnipeg. So Femme, Femme, Fatale, Fatale, and then WPG.
Amazing.
So that's where you can find all the info at. And there are, I think there's 2 of us from the UK on this lineup. So we're representing for the UK scene.
I'm really looking forward for that, darling, and I wish
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I have a close. Yeah, hold up. As I was just like, I'm very excited for the show, and you know, you're gonna slay as you always do, and I want to thank you so much for being with me today, and you looking stunning, and please just keep it up, darling. Keep it up, keep it up, keep it up, and everything will happen. We need just to keep on going, darling.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, thank you so much, everybody, for watching, and thank you again, SemiColon, for being with me today and looking so stunning, darling.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye, darling. Bye-bye.